Today we are diving into the world of XTB, a trading platform you may well already have heard of that's beginning to cater to long-term investors like you and me, offering features like 0% commission on buying and selling stocks and ETFs, access to a dedicated manager on a one-to-one basis, and what will be of particular interest to long-term investors, they're introducing investing plans where XTB are definitely worth a look as an alternative to some of the established platforms you see folks using. But before we go too far, I do want to remind you that none of this is investing advice. I am not a financial advisor qualified in any way. Whenever you invest in anything, your capital is at risk, so please make sure you're going into any investment with your eyes open. You may get back less than you put in. There is an affiliate link in the description below, and if at the end of this video you feel like signing up and giving XTB a try, then if you use that link I might well get an affiliate commission. It helps the channel and I always appreciate it. As always, these views are my own, so let's get into what XTB has to offer long-term investors. So where do we start when we use these platforms? Talk about availability of stocks and shares, fees. I'm never too sure where to start these reviews. However, most often when I discuss these things online, people are most interested with the fees associated with the platform and whether or not there is an ISA available. Currently, there is no ISA on offer with XTB, so if you are in the market for an ISA, this isn't going to suit you right now. I understand this will put a lot of folks off at the very beginning, and in many cases rightly so, because who doesn't like investing tax-free, right? But for some, it's not a deal breaker. Maybe you've already maxed out your ISA. Perhaps you like your ISA with a bank or it's with another platform altogether. You're just not interested in that. Maybe you aren't even from the UK. So I didn't want to dodge a review of this product just because there's no ISA. I'm well informed that there are lots of new features planned for the platform in the future that will cater for a wide variety of customers, but today there is no ISA. Personally, I don't think a lack of ISA is a reason to discount a platform entirely. But if that's what's most important to you, then XTB probably isn't going to work for you. The good news is though that stocks and ETFs are very cheap to invest in with XTB. Until recently, when I heard their adverts on the radio, I always associated XTB with CFDs and trading and short-term stuff like that. In my mind, I had them kind of in the same bracket as something like eToro, more suited to people who want to trade in and out of positions frequently and effectively place bets on whether an asset will go up or down. So look, don't get me wrong, just because that's not my thing, it doesn't mean XTB aren't doing it well. They've well over 800,000 customers. They're regulated by the FCA and registered in the UK. So from that point of view, their reputation isn't in doubt. So I was interested after I heard these radio adverts to find out what was going on with their long-term investments. What if I just want to buy and hold stocks and shares for the long term? Maybe I want to invest regularly and I don't want to buy and sell constantly. This is what I was interested in with XTB. So 0% commission on stocks and ETFs, and they offer fractional shares as well. I like this. I think the days are gone when you need to pay your platform wild fees per trade. It's like you're being punished for investing. It's weird. There's no such problems here. I have to say 0% commission charged when you buy stocks and ETFs as long as your monthly turnover is less than €100,000. And I would say that probably covers most of us. The price you see is the price you pay, and the prices for different assets are updated in real time on the XTB platform. So say you want to buy a share of VUSA, the popular S&P 500 ETF, then you know the buy price and you know the sell price. You can see it on your screen and there's no surprises. Plus, as I say with fractional shares, if you can't afford a whole share, you can buy a little piece of one instead, and that's good to keep your long-term investment habit going. You don't have to hit that threshold to buy a whole share or a whole unit of an ETF every time. The minimum value of a transaction is €10, so you have to make sure you are investing at least that each time you want to buy a stock or an ETF. XTB have kept the barrier to entry here very low, and I like that because it's a tricky enough business to get started investing, and the more things you can offer like commission-free trades, fractional shares, small purchase minimums, then the more people might give investing a shot, and as far as I'm concerned, that's only a good thing. So let's talk a little bit more about the costs to use this platform. So there's a full list of fees available on XTB's website, and I'll link to that PDF. A lot of them are to do with the CFD and short-term trading side of their business. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in the ones that are likely to impact long-term investors like myself. Firstly, there is no charge to get your money into a cash account with a credit or debit card, and you would probably expect that. I mean, that's pretty standard nowadays. However, when it comes to withdrawing, you do need to hit a certain threshold for your withdrawal to be free. That's something I don't like so much. Now, I appreciate there is a cost to these platforms to process money, but take a UK account here in pounds. If you're withdrawing 50 quid or less, there's a £5 fee to be paid. That is more expensive than some of its competitors, and worth bearing in mind if you're the sort of person that likes to move money around a lot, or in sort of relatively small quantities. Currency conversion is at 1%, so if you're buying or selling stocks in a currency that isn't your local denomination, then you will be charged 1% for that. XTB offers a multi-currency account, so if you intend on buying or selling a lot of stocks in a particular denomination, you can avoid foreign exchange fees each time by keeping a balance in that particular denomination. So if you're buying a lot of Amazon or Meta, then keeping a balance in dollars mightn't be a bad idea. Other charges like stamp duty, etc. are present, of course, but that's nothing to do with XTB as such. So I do want to talk about investing plans. Without a doubt, this is the most interesting feature XTB are offering for long-term investors right now. Long-term investing should always involve a plan, and if you're anything like me, you want that plan to be as passive and as hands-off as possible. I like a low mental load for my investing because life throws enough things at us without having to worry about adjusting your investments every 5 minutes. Throw money at it, set and forget, just get on with the rest of your life. XTB are offering these things they call investment plans to help you invest passively and offer an excellent strategy for long-term investing. With an investment plan, you have the flexibility to design a personalized portfolio of ETFs that align with your risk tolerances, your industry preferences, and your regional coverage. So the plan will automatically allocate your invested capital to each of the ETFs in your plan according to the designated percentage that you set up. So an investment plan is something that you set up and maintain yourself. It's not the result of any form of advice or anything like that offered by XTB, but it can be a really excellent tool to help you invest passively in the stock market long term in a pretty easy manner. Alright, so let's get started and get investing with investment plans with XTB here. So all we had to do was click on save there to take us to this landing screen, start investing smartly. There's a friendly reminder before you begin about risk and so forth, and that's fine. You need to understand that before you get in. From there, I can click create a new investment plan, and here we get a list of all the different ETFs that we can choose from. Okay, so the first thing to do is to work out what ETFs you want to put in to your plan here. There's no advice as such, so you need to come in here with a little bit of knowledge already. So let's take from the example I used earlier and we'll search for VUSA, which is the S&P 500 that is offered by Vanguard. So the filter filters out everything else except what I'm looking for. I tap that and then I can search for something else. So let's see if we have VUKE, which is a UK FTSE 100 index, and I will add that to my list as well. Let's say I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but maybe I want to invest in something to do with clean energy. Well, that's simple as well. I can search for clean energy. Here in the top bar, we get a choice of some clean energy ETF. So I will go ahead and add this iShares Global Clean Energy ETF. So you can see at the bottom of the screen there, I have 3 ETFs selected. So that's enough for now. I'm happy with that. I click next. So given that I have 3 ETFs in my portfolio, the next thing XTB wants to know is how I want to divvy up my allocations for that. So it has gone ahead and tried to guess 33% for each of them, but of course that doesn't divide. 100% doesn't divide equally 3, so we can bump that up to 34%. But in actual fact, we can divide these up however we like. So say, for sake of argument, we only want 20% of our portfolio to be in the clean energy. We want 20% of our portfolio to be in the UK stocks. We can just change these allocations as we go, and that would leave 60% for VUSA, and that is 100% of the funds allocated. And next, all we need to do is create that investment plan. What's nice about this is that as you change your allocations, you can see along the top how this plan would have performed if you'd opened it 5 years ago. So it gives you an idea of how things might go. Past performance is no indicator for future performance, but it's nice to see, the history of what it is you're going to invest in. So it's a £15 minimum investment with investment plans. I don't think that'll be a big deal for too many people. So now you have your investment plan up. There's a couple of tabs here that'll let you see a little bit more information about your investment plan. So there is a performance tab, which of course we don't have any performance on because we've just created. And there will be information on your portfolio to let you know how it's laid out across different countries, different sectors, that kind of thing. All that's left to do is put in some money, and say for example you put in £100, then that £100 is going to be allocated across your portfolio in the target amounts that you asked for. So £20 would go to the Clean Energy Fund here, £20 would go to the Vanguard FTSE 100, and £60 would go to the S&P 500. Dead simple. So if you decide at some point in the future that this doesn't match your investing goals anymore, it's dead simple to change. Simply click on the manage. You can edit your investment plan. So let's say for example you didn't want the the FTSE 100 in your portfolio anymore, simply hit the bin and change the allocation as to how you would want the remaining ETFs to be represented in your portfolio. It is of course easy to add more in the way that I showed earlier on. So these investing plans are very flexible and they can move as you want them to. So many of the other platforms in this space offer off-the-shelf products for long-term investing. The likes of Nutmeg or Money Farm, for example, would have you answer some questions, come up with a pre-made portfolio for you. There isn't anything unique to you in this, nothing to do with your investing preferences, your style, your ethics. There's usually a management fee associated with this as well. On XTB, your investing plan is free and you can control exactly what goes into your portfolio with as many or as few ETFs as you like. Right now there's over about 350 to choose from, and it's not just stocks either. You can invest in bond ETFs if you decide that that's right for you as well. So if you're heading into the next financial year and you're thinking about getting started with investing long term, then XTB's low barrier to entry is going to make it pretty easy for you to get started. We've mentioned no ISA already, and that's a thing, but one thing I think where XTB are ahead of some of the platforms that I've tried in the past is in the customer services area. On signing up, I was sent an email from my personal account manager with a name, a direct email and a phone number. Most of the customer service options I've experienced before is in-app only, messaging service or something similar to that. So it's nice to know you can actually pick up the phone and have a name you recognise on the other end. Included in this email were some links to training materials. Again, there was a lot of CFD related stuff in here, but XTB did a pretty good job of with our articles demystifying some common investing terms, understanding risk reward and information on diversification, stuff like that. So there's loads to look through, and even if you weren't going to sign up, their website education section is well worth a look through. So XTB, a huge player in trading platforms, is making moves to entice long-term investors. Interesting. I'll be watching with interest to see what comes up next, because I think there's enough here for UK investors who perhaps don't need an ISA for their stocks and shares investing. The costs are low enough to be competitive, and along with their self-managed plans, the software is pretty good. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what you like and don't like. Check out the links in the descriptions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.